Hey everybody, it's Chris Wright from Red Hat, and I've really been looking forward to this conversation with a colleague and a friend of mine that I've known actually for a while, Fran Heeran. And he's the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Nokia's core networks business. So Fran, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Great to see you again.
Likewise. And of course, recently, Nokia and Red Hat announced a really important and strategic partnership to deliver Nokia's market-leading core network applications together with Red Hat's industry-leading cloud infrastructure platform. So let's just start off, Fran, with what were those kind of driving factors? What was going on from your point of view that led Nokia to really work and launch this strategic partnership together with Red Hat?
With this partnership, Red Hat will now serve as Nokia's primary platform to develop, test, and deliver our core network applications. Additionally, Red Hat will assume responsibility for the ongoing evolution and provide full support to Nokia for the continuity of our cloud infrastructure business. As service providers work towards a continued expansion of opportunities with 5G, including core network, Open RAN, and multi-access edge computing, they'll require a greater flexibility and choice in where and how applications and services are deployed. This means flexibility, interoperability, and interchangeability across the ecosystem will be critical. As we head towards further deployment of 5G, the evolution to 5G Advanced and on to 6G, our customers will benefit from a fully integrated core network solution featuring Nokia's world-class voice, data, and subscriber management solutions, together with Red Hat's open source hybrid cloud infrastructure and ecosystem. What we've seen happening over the last couple of years certainly has been as the technology has matured, customers beginning to look and take a much more horizontal approach to their plans, right? So, as we look and develop cloud infrastructure, we were seeing more and more customers making either separate choices in the infrastructure or looking for a much more open horizontal approach to things, and that kind of fed into our strategy thinking and looking ahead in the portfolio and in moving into that world of more horizontal clouds, more open cloud architectures, it was pretty clear we needed to be able to address all of that in the future. It was not something that we were going to be doing. Our focus is on building the best network applications in the world. So partnering with Red Hat really made sense, right? It was the next logical move for us. Obviously, one of the big things was continuity. So when we're moving away from our portfolio and something as sensitive as our platform, the next question, of course, we were asked is, okay, what's the plan for my business, my network? And the customer continuity was key. And that was something, as you know, Chris, I think that you and I worked on for a long time as part of this agreement was to make sure we had that continuity. It's a little bit different to developing an application. A platform, there's a much more deeper relationship, I guess, because of the nature of what it's doing. So having that long-term plan, that long-term continuity, and showing how we were able to kind of move and I think bring customers through the natural progression that we'll see in the market, the natural life cycle, whether it's hardware switches when a hardware has to get refreshed, or whether it's going to be a move in moving applications from VNF form to CNF. They're both logical points to provide, a logical next evolution for them. So they really appreciated, I think, the fact that we thought that through. There was a plan and was recognizing their business continuity and not kind of forcing it. So I think it's generally, we've been able to address all the key points. But again, to your question, the strategy has been universally positively recognized, and that was good to see. It was good to see that we've taken the right steps, made the right bet, I think, in this case, and we're on the right track.
So I think we have a lot to bring to bear, benefiting from each other's expertise and trying to, in the end, we're actually changing how an industry operates. There's still a lot of that kind of waterfall style of building and validation and the long, well, really multiple stages of validation before you get into production, and how we can improve the speed there. And from our point of view at a platform level, make sure that we're enabling change cycles, change management, upgrade cycles that aren't deeply disruptive at a service level or even at an application level. And this is an area where I think we're growing as an industry, and it takes these types of tight working relationships to help evolve the state of the art. We'll do that in communities and work that together with you and the kind of platform application, where we meet together at the platform and application boundaries. Well, we certainly look forward to that future world, right? I mean, it's hard to have two things going at once. It's hard for everybody, from an application point of view, from a customer operating the infrastructure point of view, from a platform infrastructure provider point of view. So we look at this as, well, first of all, in the bigger picture, even expanding beyond just the telco market space, there are virtualized workloads that are going to live for really extended periods of time. So it's not as if everything is going to move to containers. Certainly, if everything does, not in immediate timeframes, right? It just takes time to make these major kind of technology transitions. So what can we do to help improve the experience along the way? Well, first of all, where things are really functional and working well and providing the service, not needing to be touched a lot. Maybe it's an application that's not going through a lot of updates. And there's not a lot of expansion or growth needs. That's a place where we're talking about stabilizing and maybe wait for one of the natural transition points that you described, whether it's introducing new hardware or introducing new functionality with a new application and using that kind of border as a way to transition to a newer underlying technology. When we look at how we deliver virtualization with OpenStack, there's even evolution there where we'll continue to consolidate the control plane into containers and have a better kind of bridging between the container world of Kubernetes and the virtual machine world of OpenStack. And then if you fast forward to a place where maybe the entire substrate is managed through OpenShift, we've brought the same virtualization technology, which is at the lowest level, it's based on KVM. We've brought that same virtualization technology into OpenShift. And so some customers where they're starting with, say, 5G deployments, brought largely CNFs, but a few VNFs that could land on that OpenShift platform. And in other contexts, big 4G deployments that are OpenStack based, and we can bring in the container platform really to host the cluster services as we bring the skills of that team up so they understand what it means to manage containers. And then, it's all about that evolutionary picture, which I think depends a little bit on the starting point and then what are those natural industry progressions. But I think the long term, we really want to get to containers, and the beauty of containers is the packaging format that you deliver applications in. It runs so well in such a wide variety of infrastructures. Low level, straight on bare metal, in VMs, even push it out to edge deployments or into clouds.
The traditional way of building a telecommunications network is you overbuild it to be able to handle, load scenarios and recovery failure scenarios. But the model changes when you move to these platforms because your economics change, your charging model changes. So that combined with what we're seeing around things like the energy challenges globally, there's a lot of interest and a lot of focus here on designing the networks and designing the core to only use what we need to use and be able to really quickly scale up and down, right? So that model of over provisioning probably is questionable going forward. And then to what extent does the software and the platform allow us to do that instant scale up and down for something as mission critical as core? We're looking to cross that bridge and get there, I think, and that'll finally probably realize the true vision of cloud and cloud native if we can get there, because then you're You're only using exactly what you need, no overbuild anymore. The infrastructure is on demand. So I think the proposition is extremely exciting. And the question is then, does the underlying platform allow us to do that? And that's, I think, where we'll work together to make sure it does.
Well, thank you so much, Fran. What an enjoyable conversation. I appreciate your time.
No, it's a pleasure, Chris. Great to see you again and looking forward to catching up face to face at some point soon. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.